2 contacts 270. Alright, they're grouping up. What's up, everybody? It is a Blue Drake, and today I wanted to talk about a project that I have not talked about in a while, that a small, very passionate group of you have been continuously asking me about and continuing to ask me for updates on, and that is the project Iron Armada. And for those of you who don't know, Iron Armada is a project that we started many years ago with a very simple idea. What if we created a very simple base game and then made it open source so anybody who wanted to could come on and contribute to the game and slowly turn it into whatever game we wanted to play? And after a few years of development, the game has gone from looking like this to now looking like and playing like this. Get on the flak, get on the flak. And while progress has been slow, because naturally almost the entire development team is volunteer or part-time contributors, the project has still come a really long way. And while I haven't been talking about it much, we have still been working on the project almost every single day. And we are still planning on and really wanting to take the project even further. And if you want to download and play Iron Armada right now, you can do so by visiting the store page on Steam, and you can download and play it for free. And in addition to that, if you want to see all of the source code to the game and potentially even contribute to it, as hundreds of other people from the community have over the past many years, you can go to our Drakeling Labs code repository, which I will link both of those things not only in the top right hand corner of this video, but I'm also going to link it in the comments below, because I know that some people don't see the links in the top right hand corner of the video anymore for some reason. However, Iron Armada, in a nutshell, is a game that I wanted to create specifically to prove one thing: that a community, especially a gaming community and an open source community, can create a fun and viable game that can be released not just on Steam, but literally anywhere. And I love the idea of games that are created by a community and for a community. And that is what Iron Armada embodies to me. And I'm hoping that we're going to be able to continue developing this game forever. I actually said that same thing many, many years ago, where people asked, like, oh, well, when is it going to be done? And I said, well, I would like to continue developing this with a community of people who continue to carry the torch of the game forever. And I really hope that as it continues to become better and better, that eventually Iron Armada will become a staple for a niche community, similar to something like Space Station 13 or Tibia, where people can create their own servers, their own experiences, and it becomes like this really weird underground culture of a place. That's really what I would love to see Iron Armada become. And I think right now, especially with the open source development community and the culture around it, that's really what it's on track to becoming. And I love the idea of that. But let's talk about the game as it is right now. Let's talk about where the game is currently. Because since the last video I've made, there are a bunch of things that have been added in. For instance, the game now has voice communications. Alright, yeah, I'm going to need either more thrusters or something balanced out here, because I can't move straight forward. And we're not going to be able to get to those. So you either need to cut this off or what, or something. Yeah, thank you, native.
Don't leave us.
Well, this is what happens. I don't know what the fuck you want me to do. And this isn't through a plugin like TeamSpeak or through Discord. This is all in-game, and you can see who's talking at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen with our UI. And when you join a server, you can now hail teammates on other ships, and you can generally talk to your faction members through VoIP. And this is obviously a big feature that I wanted. As you guys know, I love VoIP, and I think that's a huge aspect of any game. And in future versions of the game, we want to expand on this VoIP system so you can actually hail enemy ships and you can talk to enemy factions as well as your own faction. Another thing that we've done is we've implemented OpenGL shader support and a whole new particle engine. So this means we can have things like this beautifully procedurally rendered star field in the background, or we can have things like this fully three-dimensional planet that rotates. Like, I'm not sure if you actually realize this, but if I speed up this footage here, you'll actually notice that this planet is rotating. And we're currently working on even more things. We're implementing shipyards and implementing stations that are immovable that players can build. We're implementing a faction system where players can create their own factions and recruit other players. We're working on artificial intelligence and procedurally generated objectives, both for single player and multiplayer. So instead of only fighting other players, you might also get other objectives like going out and harvesting an asteroid, or going out and finding a piece of ship salvage, or even going out and destroying enemy drones. Kind of similar to like a Descent 3 style situation. In fact, we take a lot of inspiration from a lot of other games, specifically games like Stormworks, and of course Space Engineers, and also King Arthur's Gold. Stormworks' objective system I actually like a lot, and I would really love to have something like that in not just a single player or cooperative mode, but also in a competitive mode where you have players fighting over these joint objectives, like the first person to get to a piece of ship salvage, or the first person to get to an asteroid, or the first person to destroy a drone station, getting resources that they can pour back into their ships in order to expand their fleet, expand their faction, and defeat other players. We're also working on a lighting engine. So when a ship is powered down, it maybe doesn't emit light, so you can go on board and have a flashlight that you can use in order to search the ship, or just other little things like to tell if certain ship components have power. Now, instead of it being an icon, you can actually just see if it's lit up and if it's running or not. That's a really cool system that I'm looking forward to, that we're working on right now. And then, of course, the biggest feature of all is the workshop mod support. That is something that I'm really hoping we're going to be able to have in soon, where whenever you join a server, it will automatically download all of the mods off of the workshop, new parts, new ships, new maps, complete overhauls, seamlessly integrated. And I think once we create that one system that works seamlessly and effectively, that is just going to blow the lid off of this entire game, because every community can do whatever they want, and they can take the time and expand the game into whatever direction they want. Do you want to have a free-form role-play server similar to Freelancer? Do you want to have a competitive server similar to Dreadnought? Do you want to have something completely different, maybe? Well, I want to make sure that we build a game that is not only open source, but also is really well integrated into all of the wonderful tools that Steam makes available, so people can create their own experiences. And when you combine that with this being a free game and an open source game, that makes it, oh man, I am really looking forward to the day that we accomplish that. So currently, Iron Armada is in its beta phase of development. For a long time, we were in the alpha phase, and the game was closed access, and you could pay to be a part of the alpha on Steam. And during that time, we talked about how we were planning on changing the pricing model as we were getting closer and closer to a release. And we raised a good enough amount of money in order to support the game and get it out of the alpha into beta, implement a lot of the really core foundational features like the OpenGL system and a lot of the other menu framework and user interface frameworks that now make up the bulk of the game. And as the game continues to develop, The pricing and monetization model that we are most attracted to is a similar pricing model to what Unturned does. We really believe in free games. We really believe in people optionally paying to support development, and we can use those funds to hire developers part-time, or we can create rewards if volunteer developers achieve certain milestones or help us accomplish certain features. It is a very communist style of development, but it works really, really well. And I think Iron Armada is almost as much of a cultural experiment than a commercial project. Currently, the game is almost entirely multiplayer. However, we have implemented single player functionality so you can get into a local match and fly around and harvest asteroids and build ships and save those ships as blueprints so you can share them with your friends. And as the game goes on, we're going to want to expand that single player functionality and expand that cooperative functionality so people can play the game solo without needing other people to play with in order to have fun. The multiplayer aspect of the game is really solid, but hosting a server currently is a little bit complicated, which is kind of a shame, and that is something that we're hoping to improve. So, since there aren't very many servers right now because they're a little bit difficult to host, that does mean we primarily focus on having events when everybody can come together and play the game. And outside of those times, it is possible to host a server and it is possible to have a match, but it's a little bit harder for people who don't understand how to host Iron Armada servers. But our ultimate goal is I would like to create almost an identical style of multiplayer and single player compared to a game like Don't Starve together, where you have three major categories of networked play. You have a single player match, you have a cooperative client hosted match where you're hosting a game from your own computer, but there's a limit on the number of players that can join it because it's not a dedicated server. And then finally, you have dedicated servers, which can host up to as many players as your dedicated server can support. And we've also actually gotten a lot of interest from frameworks like Spatial OS. For instance, the biggest game on Spatial OS right now is Worlds Adrift, which is very similar to Iron Armada in many ways. So lots of people have talked about the idea of creating an open source initiative within Iron Armada to build Spatial OS into it so you can have a virtually infinite roleplay server using the spaceships and block building mechanics of Iron Armada. Beyond that, there are obviously so many things long term that the community wants to do with Iron Armada, that I want to do with Iron Armada, that we all want to do with Iron Armada. And hopefully, if the community continues coming together, if we continue getting the support that we have, we've had many programmers come out of the community and help develop the game further. We've even had game developers from other games help us with the development of Iron Armada and develop core parts of Iron Armada in their free time. For instance, David Stark from Airships Conquer the Skies wrote a big portion of the physics aspects that power Iron Armada. The developers of Star Sector and the developers of Battle Void have helped us a lot talking about how to utilize libgdx, how to utilize Box2D, how to utilize different systems within Java in order to make a better game. It really has been a great communal experience, and hopefully as we continue growing in our capability and as we continue to improve in our development structure, we're going to be able to take this game virtually infinitely further. So that is it from me for now. I wanted to update you guys on Iron Armada because I know a lot of you have been asking about that since that was a big project that I was working on a long time ago. And yes, me and many other community members are still working on it every single day, and it shows. And I think here soon we're definitely going to get it to a point where it is so stable and so much more fun that the cup will just kind of like overflow and people will really just start flocking to the game because, if you build it, they will come. We just need to build it and get it to that point, which it is obviously getting closer to every single day. Again, if you're interested in downloading the game or viewing the source code. Links will be in the comments below. And of course, if you are also interested in participating in our development projects and becoming a member of our community development team or just a playtester, I will link applications for that in the comments below as well, because I know a lot of people have been asking me, like, hey, I'm interested in becoming a community developer. I'm interested in contributing. How do I do that? I'll link those forms down below. In addition to that, we are going to start hosting servers here very soon for other things like Hell Let Loose. I know that in the last video I put a link in the top right hand corner for which for some reason didn't show up for a lot of people, so I will also put that down in the comments. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully this has been a good update, and keep a lookout for more events on Iron Armada here soon. I'm going to start pushing a lot more into the game since I have a little bit more free time lately. I'll probably do a couple of events, and if you want to be around for those and have massive, like 100 player space battles in Iron Armada, stick around for that. And of course, leave your suggestions for the game in the comments. Go to the Steam page for Iron Armada. Leave your ideas in the suggestion forums on Steam as well. We want to hear everything you have to say. And of course, feel free to join the Discord server as well. So when we do have events, I can just like mass spam you with everyone tags and get everybody in the server really quick. Okay, that's it. I've ranted on enough. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you still enjoy Iron Armada, and I love you very much. Cheers.